Welcome back to the Means Report. Glad that you are staying with us. Also, I must say I love our upbeat music. You know, that kind of heavy on the guitar. Reminds me of something that Dr. Bob Harmon might play. Remember him? He was our doctor we had last week, talking about how music therapy is working to help people regain their physical function. Well, we're going to stay in the theme of trying to keep you healthy and happy, especially during the holiday season, and we're going to talk about stress with another physician from our area. It's Dr. Doris Tomillo. She's a cardiologist at Doctors Hospital. Dr. Tomillo will join us in just a second to talk about ways that we can really kind of take a deep breath and make ourselves healthier and happier. We don't need to let stress get the best of us. And when I say us, I'm largely referring to moms out there. I want to give you all a shout out because I know how hard you work. I know that you are multitaskers. In fact, a recent study was done on who does more at the same time, men or women, and women came out ahead because they're juggling so many things at once. Take a look.
Working moms multitask about 10 hours a week more than working dads, and they like it a lot less. These findings, published in the American Sociological Review, will come as no surprise to millions of working women. Researchers found they spent 48.3 hours per week, 40% of their waking time, doing at least two things at once. Fathers spent 38.9 hours per week multitasking. Women's multitasking often involves childcare and housework, while men are more likely to be talking to several people at once and supervising kids' recreation. But while men generally have no problem with juggling those jobs, the authors say women feel stressed and conflicted by being exposed to scrutiny and judgment. Not surprisingly, the researchers recommend that fathers lift more of the load when it comes to housekeeping and child care.
All right, Dr. Doris Tomillo joining us now from Doctors Hospital. Let me get you first of all, doctor, to comment on that story. Basically what it said, because I wasn't sure if you could hear it, was that women do more than men when it comes to multitasking. Do you see more women with heart issues coming in, or is it about 50-50?
It still is about 50-50.
Uh-huh. And have you ever seen where someone is in perfect physical condition, or near perfect, all right? They eat well, they live a decent lifestyle, but they're still done in by stress. Can stress alone hurt your heart?
It can. You can rupture a plaque. Unfortunately, there's something called acute coronary syndrome, and a lot of factors can make that occur. Stress is a big part. Most times when people are under stress, they're not eating right, they're not exercising, and basically you can take a plaque that is really non-significant, less than 10%, and it can break loose and cause 100% occlusion. One of the most common reasons is smoking, you know, just not exactly the healthy habits, and it can be a fatal event if you cannot get to the hospital quick enough.
What happens inside the human body to make that plaque, an insignificant amount of plaque, break loose? Is it just the absolute tension that we're allowing our bodies to undergo, or do you usually have to mix in those poor eating habits and other things you mentioned?
You know, actually sometimes if you were really that stressed, you probably could. I mean, if it was that unbearable for you. There are some people that really feel their life is going to be totally disintegrated. You activate bad parts of your body to activate. You'll have the plaque, and what happens is you'll have cells that'll help disrupt the plaque. It comes out in times of stress or bad health. A lot of times, most people, when they are that stressed, they have bad habits. They're exhausted, you know, they're doing too much, they can't manage their day, they just can't handle the stress, and emotionally they get upset, their blood pressure can go up, their tone of their vessels can constrict, and making all of these other bad factors activate to cause either, you know, acute issues like the coronary syndrome, where you can rupture a plaque. Most people, unfortunately, that do have that also have other bad habits in there, but there are a few that can just do it on their own if they're that upset.
We don't live in the best part of the country either when it comes to people taking care of their hearts because of the food we like to eat and the lifestyle that we lead. Business is pretty good for y'all, isn't it, unfortunately?
The Southern way of eating has really helped coronary disease progress.
Yeah. How do we make it all slow down? How do you press the pause button on your life? There are people watching today who say, you know what? Okay, she's scared me. She's made me pay attention. But how in the heck am I supposed to rearrange my life so that there's not so much stress in it?
I think you have to one, exercise does help people. You can reset. You can take some time for yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes a day.
What are you talking about, exercise? Walking from your car to the mall door, something as small as that? Or do we really just need to put on the shoes and the shorts and do something significant, substantial?
Well, I think the easiest way to change is to just either park farther away and then walk. Anything that you do that increases your activity will help.
Really?
So any little bit, in terms of exercise, you don't have to do it all at once. Anything that you can add is going to add fitness. Even if you're at your desk and you do stretches and you raise your arms, move your legs, all of these things will help. They add up. Now, granted, when you get to a certain level of fitness, then you're really going to have to get on the shoes and do it because you're at a peak, or you're at a peak condition. But when you're first starting out, really we start people out slow because they're not capable of doing it. And what we want people to do is be successful. Even if you walk up and down a hallway several times during a day, you'll improve your fitness.
How? You're not losing weight. You're not going home at night by saying, well, I walked an extra 100 steps today. How in the world does that help your body, something that minor?
It gives you endurance.
Mm-hmm.
It actually will increase your respiratory, it'll make you more efficient. Now, it does it very slowly. Now, someone who's totally deconditioned, they're going to see the best. Someone that's in shape, it won't do anything.
What about our diet? We, as you said, in the South are almost programmed at birth to eat a certain way. How do you adjust that? Is it like with the exercise, a little at a time?
Well, that one you have to do a little bit more drastically.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have coronary disease. You have to look at certain fast food places have changed their oil because they knew it killed their population.
Mm-hmm.
So that should tell you something right there. But the other thing is that I think you should try to look, if you cannot pronounce it, if you don't know how to spell it, and you don't know what it is, maybe we shouldn't eat it.
Really?
So when you look at all these processed foods and all the fast things, if you don't know what's in it, try your best not to eat it, because then it's usually something else that's processed that's not natural. It's better to get like vegetables, and you can have the meat. It just has to be cooked, baked, broiled, or grilled, not fried. So it's not the meat itself or the fish, it's how you cook it and prepare it that makes it unhealthy. And then of course, you really shouldn't have a biscuit.
No?
Well,
You're calling for a ban on biscuits?
Not unless you're exercising.
There's no real reading value to those, are there?
Well,
is there?
Not unless you're exercising. If you can burn the calories, you can have it.
Yeah, that's a question I wanted to ask, because a lot of people ask, I lost a lot of weight many years ago, and people will say, how do you keep it off? I'll say, I still allow myself to have a horrible meal. But if you walk the next day or run the next day, can you cancel out that bad meal?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, the exercise, if you can burn off the calories, that's fine, but it depends. If you had something that was just totally saturated in the most cholesterol and fat that you could, that's going to take a little bit longer to get rid of.
All right.
But otherwise, in terms of the calories, you can burn those off. But like bad additives, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you increase your cholesterol tremendously from the food you eat, you have to clear it somehow. Mm-hmm. So it's either medication or your liver has to work better. So it'll take longer, and as it takes longer, it can cause more damage. So that's why you try not to put in bad things, and you really are what you eat.
Yeah. Can we beat our family history if we follow the advice that you've given today, diet and exercise, a little at a time, and we build up our conditioning? Can we sort of beat what may have happened to our fathers and grandfathers and down the line?
I think you can alter a lot.
Really?
And a couple things with that is, one, there's other issues like, taking a baby aspirin if it's in your family history and you need to, cholesterol reduction and altering your lipid profile. Most people here have high triglycerides because of the biscuit,
yep.
In their diabetes. A lot of the diabetes is not genetic anymore. It's really kind of self-inflicted.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what you eat, and that's what causes it. Now, if you take those out, you're not going to develop disease like that. If you don't smoke, you're not going to develop the disease. Now, there are some families that have tremendous early coronary disease from really bad genetics. That's a little tougher, but you can delay it.
Okay.
So you may not get it at 30, but you may get it at 50.
Are you a believer in these medications that can help lower your cholesterol and help you lead a healthier life? We're bombarded with them, so much so that it's difficult to know which one to choose. As a physician, can those pills help?
They can actually regress coronary disease.
Really?
They can.
That's amazing.
The statins are probably the best intervention we've ever made in the last century. They really can, they not only do decrease your cholesterol, they decrease the plaque, they do a lot of things, and over periods of time, I really think and you do the right things, you can almost make it go away or keep it so that it never becomes a problem.
Probably my last question. At what age should we start focusing on heart health? And by that I mean paying regular visits to our doctor to make sure that we're living right and that our profile is where it needs to be?
I think hopefully that as when the women do the multitasking,
Yeah.
they start feeding them right at birth.
Really?
And do it that way, because then when you look at how people do well and which ones do better, their parents were healthy.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. So if you start early, that is. But after that, I think everybody should have blood work done. They should have their blood pressure checked at an early age just to make sure. Down in here in the South, hypertension is one of the biggest problems for people.
Sure is.
And people are hypertensive in their 20s and they don't know it. And then you already have years of damage by the time you recognize it, because it's silent. Unless you have a massive headache or something else like that that lets you know that you're hypertensive, people walk around like that, and then they just get end organ damage, which you could have prevented with medications. It's not a problem to take medications. You just think you're making it natural, like it should be, and you're not. Don't focus on the pill. Focus on restoring the elasticity to your vessels so they don't get stiff and break and have ruptures and plaques.
It's wonderful information. You have filled our 11 minutes or so with a ton of great advice. I hope people follow it, and I appreciate all that you do to get people either on the right track or back on the right track.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Doris Tomillo, Doctors Hospital cardiologist. When we come back, we're going to wrap up this edition of the Means Report with information on how you can shape future episodes. Stay with us, please.